time using this, so we'll see how it goes. Okay. Let's see. Oops. Okay, guys. I opened it a little bit earlier so we can get people in. The guys are in the chat, so it's gonna take a minute. I'm gonna bring everybody in. I'm just letting everybody, pop in before we get started. Cincy Bengal fan, what up? Extreme 1500, Josh Abram. I'm happy we had you, Cincy Bengal fan, because you're always here. I don't remember if you were here last time the Ace Boogie was here. So Ace Boogie will have some backup here. Harry Holan, Josh Abrams. So we're gonna do this thing, guys. A couple things as we have 12 people and you guys are popping up. I know you don't see just me for now, but the guys are there. They're in the background for now. They're in the chat. So no phone calls today. That's not gonna be a thing today. We're gonna have too many people. I mean, there's 4 of us, right? Talking now. I talked to the guys. They're gonna interact with you guys, and I'm gonna put comments on later on. We're gonna take questions from you guys. Second, trolling. If you guys want to troll, they're gonna troll you back. It's what it is, right? If you want to troll, expect trolls back, but everything has to be keep respectful, right? I don't want no cussing. I don't want anybody to take away the line. I don't want to suspend anybody or mute anybody. Trolling. I mean, we all know Tony gets concussed when he talks about Ravens fans, so obviously he's gonna troll us. Go ahead and troll him. I have been, and they all know this, even though we're 5-2. It's funny because I see them laughing in the background, and they're like, "Damn it, I can't talk." But I haven't been trolling them during the year. Anyway, so let's get started. So guys, like I said, guys are gonna be in the chat, interact. We're gonna talk probably between an hour and a half. Let me start introducing everybody up. Let's start with the most popular of the opposing teams for his rhetoric, Mr. Tony.
Me? What did I say? I came on here last time. I thought it was very reasonable.
My behind enemy lines, I thought it was across the line a little bit, but
really?
But I'm trolling. But as you've seen, and this is for the guys here, everybody that's watching, I don't edit the behind enemy lines. If they want to send me that, that's what I put. I'm not here to miscue the message, and that was the same for Ace and Quincy when they send me their videos, and for everybody that sent me the video. But Tony, introduce yourself, where they can find you. You're a fan of what team?
Yeah, I was trying to, obviously that was all in jest. I'm the host of the Locked On Steelers podcast. You can find me at lockedonsteelers.com or wherever you find podcasts. Me and my co-host Chris Carter do that podcast daily. We're talking about this Steelers season. It has been, Sonny, it's been a weird Steeler year. Nearly got you in that one, by the way. Steelers nearly got him. Duck came in the fourth quarter, came in overtime. It was close. It was a close one.
If near were counts.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's bring our next guy, Mr. Quincy Carter.
How y'all doing, Ravens fans? We got a lot to talk about today, don't we, huh? I see that the season hasn't gone as we had thought. Sonny's out here smiling. Tony took the Steelers logo off his hat. But, we're doing everything that we can out here.
Last time?
Oh, man, that was a good one. I didn't even see that one. Okay, and last but not least, my boy, Ace Boogie.
What's going on, Ravens fans? It's your boy, Ace Boogie. And the Bengals, I think we just got our first win today because we finally decided to bench Andy Dalton. So I'm glad to be here to talk about the AFC North.
Let me tell you something. I see you. I have been seeing you for the past couple weeks saying that they should bench Andy Dalton. So my boy is not saying here 2020. He has been on the let's bench Andy Dalton. Now, I did tell Ace Boogie, I went on record, said you guys should trade Dalton before the season started. And I still think it should have been, because you probably would have gone, at least a third. At this point, being bench, if you get something, you're lucky.
Do you think this is the end of it? Is this like a temporary thing, or is this like they're done with him? They're moving on next year. They're taking a quarterback. It's over.
It's kind of a mixed bag right now. I think with them being 0-8, the thing is they want to see what they have behind Andy Dalton. Ryan Finley really had a really good preseason, so they want to see what they have there. In my opinion, though, I think that the writing is on the wall that they're ready to move on from Andy Dalton. So I think that this is going to allow them, with us possibly ending up with a top 3 pick, this is for them to see what they have in Ryan Finley and decide whether they want to take Chase Young or whether they want to take Tua or Burrow.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
funny.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna miss Andy Dalton in the AFC. So some of my favorite Steeler memories include Andy Dalton, so I'm gonna miss him a little bit. Although I gotta say, watching Baker Mayfield this week, he's doing a great job filling in. So
I will say that
Okay.
on the other side, Dalton has been a sword on my side, a thorn on my side. Dalton, he has plenty of moments that I've been hating in life. So I'm happy that the red rifle is not the starter anymore. But I think it had to do. I mean, at this point, you're 0-7 or 0-8.
0-8, man.
And it was you have to.
You ain't have to ask that.
No, because I didn't remember. I didn't remember.
no,
I didn't remember if they were already in a bye or not. Right?
I
Like
think we might be 0-9 after the bye. That's the way the season is.
Okay, so as we talked earlier, all of us thought the AFC North was going to be strong. I thought it was going to be, if not the best, top 2 in the AFC. I thought the Browns were going to be good. When you guys came here, I actually said I thought the Ravens were going to be 11-5, Browns were going to be 10-6, and I said the Steelers were going to be either 8-8 or 9-7. I think is what I said, and I think I said that the Bengals were going to be 5 or 6 wins. I think that's roughly what I said last time, and that would have been like I said, like even though I think the Bengals were going to be last, they were still very tough. They were a competitor because I thought that defense was still legit, and on offense they had enough pieces that they could have been competitive. But my point with the Bengals has always been, you guys get injured. You had the worst luck with injuries, and Jonah Williams right on cue, right? But anyhow, so I want to know your guys' thoughts on the AFC North. How this division is shaping up. We don't have to talk about who's first or second at this moment, but are you disappointed? Is what you expected? What is your thoughts of the AFC North and how is it going? Ace, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I think going into this year, I'm kind of disappointed within the AFC North because I really thought that we had a very solid division. Especially with the Browns making so many moves in the offseason, them getting OBJ, there was a lot of excitement there. I still felt like even though I was thinking that the Steelers would fall off a little bit, I still felt that they would be competitive, at least in the division as well. And I just felt like from a 4-team perspective, this was going to be a division that at least would have 2 teams come out of the division, one for the playoffs and one for the wild card. And it just has been kind of abysmal this year. It's kind of shocking the way that the teams as a whole have performed, and honestly, the whole division is underperformed in my opinion.
There's one team. Go ahead, Quincy.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Ace Boogie said. Obviously, the Browns have underperformed. The Steelers are right where I thought they would be without Big Ben. Honestly, I think they're actually looking a little bit. I know they almost lost against Miami, but honestly, I think they're a little bit better than I thought they were. With the 2 quarterbacks that they have now instead of Ben, because before Ben got hurt, he was playing like absolute garbage. And the Bengals, I did not expect them to be winless at this point in the season. I thought they were bad. I did not think they were this bad. I still don't think they're that bad. I do expect them to pick up a couple wins here later on in the season. Sonny, you might not like one of the wins I think they're going to pick up here.
Of course you are.
But, it's been an interesting year. Baker has underperformed. Freddie Kitchens has looked terrible at a lot of times. And it's not just first-year head coach stuff. A lot of things going on with the Browns that, because the frustrating thing about the Browns is that they're underperforming, but it's not because they're not performing well in game. It's because they're just getting in their own way. I think the game in New England, in New England, they should have won last week in New England. But those 3 turnovers cost them about 17 to 21 points. That's the difference in the game. And that's what got in their way. In Tennessee, they got in their own way. Against the Rams, they got in their own way. The only game where they didn't get in their own way, they played to their level of playing, was when they beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Sonny, you were there in person for that. And that's the one game where they haven't gotten into their own way or had enough turnovers to hurt themselves. And, I think that's what this team can be. And hopefully for the rest of the season, that's what this team is going to play like. Since they're playing weaker teams, they're going to be able to, get some of these consistency issues under lock is what the hope is. But the way they played the first 8 weeks, I can't sit here and guarantee nothing.
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, this has obviously been a frustrating year to be a Steeler fan because, there was obviously expectation within. I know you guys all disagree with me, but there was expectation in Pittsburgh that without AB, without that distraction, that this team could actually take a step forward, especially with what they were building defensively. So this has been a really frustrating year to watch, that the defense actually has been as good as a lot of us thought it could be, but offensively a huge step backwards without Ben Roethlisberger. I think a lot of the disappointment in this division comes from 2 teams, right? It's Cleveland for not being, class of the AFC, or at least in that picture right now. I mean, they look more like your regular Browns team than a team that was going to be a contender. And then the Steelers, look, I mean, it's injury problems. I mean, it's no quarterback in Pittsburgh. So, I think where Steeler fans have come today and where I am today is this is I said this, I know I'm looking at the chat here. I made a lot of your fans very angry on the, I guess that the crossover that we did, very angry, your fans. But, what I said on that is just, it was jokingly, because for us Steeler fans, this year is just free money. Who cares what happens to the Steelers in 2019? There's no Ben Roethlisberger. So if the Steelers go 3-13, that's fine. If they go 8-8, that's fine too. If they make the playoffs, like I said, if they make the playoffs, well, then this is a terrible year for the rest of the AFC North, because this is supposed to be the year that the Browns take that leap. This is supposed to be the year that the Ravens with Lamar Jackson take that leap. And credit to you, Sonny, that you were right. Lamar Jackson does look like that guy. But if the Steelers somehow figure this thing out and make the playoffs, well, I mean, next year when Ben comes back, what happens then? Because, right now, everyone watched it last night. Mason Rudolph, he's fine at times, but he's probably not the guy. The guy is still Ben Roethlisberger. And when you add that to the defense that Pittsburgh has now, I think they would be the 3rd best team in the AFC this year. Next year, maybe better.
Let me tell you, if you think the Steelers are gonna make the playoffs, that whatever they sell in Pittsburgh is high quality stuff, man. It has you in a very high.
Well, hold on, Sonny. Look, the Ravens beat the Steelers by a field goal in overtime after their 3rd string quarterback came in, right? So it's not as though the Ravens came in and drove the Steelers out of town, right? I mean, that was a close game.
To be honest, the Sanford kid looked better than Rudolph. When the Sanford kid came in,
don't get me started on my boy Duck. Don't get me started on my boy Duck.
I'm just saying, I thought that Rudolph should have been benched for Miami, meaning not after he started the game. It shouldn't be him starting. Anyway, it's a different topic. But let me say, for the AFC North, I was disappointed. And what I'm gonna do a quick overview of how I see the North. And if you guys want to take it or rebuttal, you can do that. I actually think the Bengals, I'm surprised they're that bad. I mean, I call you guys the Bungles, but I'm shocked that it's been that bad, especially after the first game that you gave away that game. I think Seattle overlooked you guys, wasn't prepared for the Bengals. You guys played hard. You should have won that game. I'm actually, and I'm going to give Quincy here a little credit, I'm scared that game against the Bengals, and it is because of this. If we beat, I think we can beat New England. We're coming out of a bye. They're coming from a tough game. If we win against New England, and we have Houston between the Bengals and New England, if we beat them, my worry is that the team is going to be focused on the Texans, right? And they're going to overlook the Bengals, and the Bengals are going to be in a bye. If we lose to New England, I don't think we're going to not be focused on the Bengals, if that makes sense. But overall, I agree with Quincy. I think you guys probably have a couple wins coming your way. I think you guys are not as bad as Miami at this point. Miami, although some people here critique the Ravens beating Miami, thumping them with a 59 points, and I haven't seen anybody else putting a 59er after that. but okay, whatever. It was Miami, right? So the Bengals, I think it has a couple wins. If I go with the Brownies, I'm disappointed with the Brownies, to be honest. And what I think on the Brownies is, I said the biggest problem that they have was coaching and O-line, and they haven't disappointed in those two facets. The third thing is the Brownies beat themselves so much. I don't think, to be honest, I still think there's could be two teams kind of coming out of this divisions. The AFC is not that strong overall. Right now, the 6th seed is Buffalo or the Texans. Buffalo can easily fall out of that 6th seed, and the Browns can overtake that 6th seed, right? I think the Browns have the potential, but they need to play cleaner football.
We're not coming for the 6th seed. We're coming for the AFC North. We're making an 8-1 run in these last 9 games, and we're winning it all.
Okay, Tony, I misspoke. It's Cleveland has the high stuff. They have the high shelf stuff over there. Anyway, I think the Browns are still a good team, but they need to play more discipline. They need to run more of the ball and play action. I do agree with you, Quincy. That game, one of the things that as I looked at that game, because I studied it a little bit because we were playing New England this week, what I saw from that game was like, after those three turnovers, if New England is that team, New England should have blown you guys out, and they didn't. They couldn't. They tried, but they couldn't. But Baker also needs to be better. I've seen turnovers that are not his fault, but they're also other passes that are just bad, right? So he needs to get better. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, here's my whole take on the New England game. One, watching that, I even tweeted this out. I think the Ravens are going to beat New England next week because the matchups for that game, I don't think it's favorable. New England has not played well against any team that can run the ball well. And if you watched them against the Buffalo Bills, stopping Josh Allen was a problem for the New England Patriots. Stopping Mark Ingram and stopping Lamar Jackson is going to be a huge problem for him.
Is that game in New England or is it in Baltimore?
It's in Baltimore.
Oh, I agree. Baltimore is going to win that game.
I think so too.
And it's also like what Bill Belichick, what he really is good at in this defense is going 0 with those extra linebackers. And you can't do that against Lamar Jackson. That's a silly thing to do because he can just beat you over top. That's one of the things he can do well as a passer. One of the few things he can do well as a passer, Chad. But honestly, going back to the Browns New England game, I've been watching the Browns get killed in the media for this because it's just a cool thing to do now. It's just to pile on the Browns and whatever. We deserve it. But here's what happened in New England. They had the 2 turnovers early. Nick Chubb and Joe Bitonio played the worst game of their lives. And Nick Chubb and Joe Bitonio were still able to manufacture 130 rushing yards against the Ravens. If you look at what Baker Mayfield did on the context of what other quarterbacks have done against the New England Patriots, worlds better than anybody who's played them. Not like it was a great game by Baker Mayfield by any means, but much better than anybody who has played that defense has fared. So the quarterback played well enough to win. The defense played well enough to win. And the offense played well enough to win. They just turned the ball over 3 times, and those 3 times just happened to be 17 points worth of turnovers. But
that's the kind of stuff you can't do that against the Patriots are that team, right? You cannot.
That's exactly what I said going into the game is the Browns could very easily win this game. There's a clear landing strip for them, but the landing strip's about this thin for the team, and I didn't trust them to be disciplined enough to do that, and they ultimately made me look like a genius, even though they made me sad for doing it.
I know I'm the outsider. I don't watch Cleveland football every week, but it does feel to me like coaching is the problem. Is the main problem. Sometimes I feel like I'm watching that team and it's like, is Ashton Kutcher going to jump out and say like, "Yo, sorry, Cleveland, you've been punked. Freddie Kitchens not really your coach." Like what?
Hey, let me. I'm going to address the Steelers very soon, but since Quincy jumped here, I want him to explain the false start, sending the punt team, and then going for it. Because I still think that he was drunk when he made that decision, but I might be wrong. I might not be as intelligent as Freddie Kitchen as a football person.
All right, so Rex Ryan actually made this make sense to me, and this is how you know we're in a bad spot when it comes to coaching. Rex Ryan's making stuff make sense to me. But he was pretty much saying that Freddie Kitchens in that moment was probably covering for the special teams coach who just like automatically ran his punt team out there, not knowing the situation in the game, and then you had to do what you had to do there. Honestly, that's the main problem for the team. There's some type of dysfunction going on in the sideline. I don't know if it's just pure incompetence or if there's some incompetency with the structure of things down there that's causing these stupid mistakes to trickle down to the football team. But there's something there that is clearly holding the team back. And I really hope this week, before they play the Broncos, who they should beat by 40, because they didn't have a starting quarterback coming into the game, and now they're starting Brandon Allen, which I will shoot myself on air if we lose to Brandon Allen. Okay. So I hope they figure this out, get out of their own way, and give themselves a fighting chance in week 16 and 17 to actually win this division. Because hey, we can say what we want. I think the Ravens are probably going to drop a few games here because they're going to play some tough teams. They're going to have a tough stretch coming up. The Browns have a chance to make this interesting at the very least for the division. They need to make week 15 interesting in Cleveland against Baltimore, and they need to win that game. And I think, again, there's a clear lane for the Browns to still win this division. It's possible. It's very possible.
I mean,
they don't have a lot of margin of error.
I'll give you this, Quincy. I'm looking through their schedule right now. The Browns don't have a lot of bad losses, right? I mean, the losses that they have, Patriots, Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, right? Those four. We won't talk about the Titans just yet. But
thing nobody is talking about. Browns have had the second toughest schedule in the NFL. We have played the two best defenses in like the last 10 years.
Well, we're all. I mean, listen. Everyone in this chat is doing it.
Okay,
we'll get them.
It's coming for them. There's another team that can win the division, by the way, not just the Browns.
We've had to play the two toughest defenses in the NFL in the last 10 years on the road on national TV. So, like, hey, we've been put on a platter to look terrible.
Wait, that's the Patriots and who else?
The
San
49ers.
Francisco 49ers.
Niners. Yeah.
So demolished us.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem with the Browns is, yes, I don't think the losses are bad, necessarily bad losses. It's how they looked in those games. They look undisciplined. They look like they beat themselves, right? And that's the problem, because if they would have been disciplined, they might win some of those games, right? I mean, Seattle game is a perfect example. That was a game that it was there for you guys to win, and Baker throws that at the end of the game that pick, right? The other what do you call that? Oh man, what is the other game? Anyway, there's a couple of games that the undiscipline has killed the Browns. But let me circle back now, because I was going through all the teams to the Squealers. The Squealers had disappointed me too, because obviously not having Big Ben, that was it. And then somebody decided to say, hey, we might have a top 10 pick. We may not, but we may. And let's just get that safety for that pick. Yeah. I thought that was a bad move. I know he has 2 picks.
But wait, why? Okay, hold on. But wait, why is it a bad pick?
Why was a bad trade?
Well, why is it a bad trade to get Minka? Like, okay, let's say the Steelers end up with a top 10 pick. Why is it a bad pick to get Minka?
Because with the top 10, you can draft Minka is a B- safety.
B?
Yeah.
He had 4 turnovers this year. He has 4 turnovers already.
Yeah.
He had 2 last night. He had 2 against the 49ers.
Yeah,
so 4 already.
Tony, who do you think? Like, give me the. I just want to know where your mind's at with them. Give me
no. Okay, but
no. Hold on. I just want to know, like, who, like, give me a player comp. Who you think Minka Fitzpatrick is, like, the type of level of player?
What level of player he is? I would put him. I would say right now he's an A. I mean, he is a playmaker in the secondary. Something the Steelers. Okay, let's go over the history of the Steeler defense. Right? They have.
So when you say A, you mean like Jamal?
Elite. He's talking elite. He's talking an elite safety.
No, I don't think he's an elite. I think he's.
The only people that get an A are elite players. Okay. Then you get Bs, which are really good.
Well, then I'll put him at a B+. I don't know why we're doing that. Are we in 5th grade right now? What are we doing? Okay, He is exactly the kind of player the Steelers need in the secondary, which is someone who is a ball hawk who can create turnovers. If you guys, I don't know, look, the Steelers had 15 turnovers in all of last year. I believe they have 16 or 17 right now. Okay, 4 of those are from Minkah Fitzpatrick. This team could not turn the ball over at all last year. They had Sean Davis, who he replaced, has negative ball skills. Okay, this guy actually took a turnover away from Joe Hayden in the Chargers game last year, probably cost them that win. So Minkah Fitzpatrick coming in has made a night and day difference. Go and watch this defense before Minkah and after. It is a night and day difference. So, is he friggin' Ed Reed out there? I don't know because I'm 6 games into this.
I mean, you should know that answer. No.
Right. Okay.
No,
he's not. Okay. I agree. He's not Ed Reed yet. Okay. Yes. But he's a very good player and exactly what the Steelers need. Now, but hold on. I want to go back to this because everyone says the Steelers made a bad trade. And I want to go through the math on this. So why is a top 10 pick better than Minkah Fitzpatrick?
Hold on.
Go ahead, Quincy.
Now, the reason I asked you, what level of player do you think Minkah Fitzpatrick is? I'm not going to say that Minkah Fitzpatrick is a bad player. Obviously, he played well. He's a very good upper level, not top tier elite safety, but he's pretty good. But here's my issue with the whole trade. One, if you could pick one position that you probably don't need to spend a top 10 pick on in the NFL, I think it's safety. The way the game's built now, you rather have good corners. I could understand a pass rusher if you were trading for a top level pass rusher.
Agree.
Those are the guys that are worth it. But if you look, here's my thing.
So explain to me what happened with the defense over the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, here's my thing. One, I think you've gotten better play out of Bud Dupree and TJ Watt than you expected coming into the season.
Well, not TJ, but Bud especially. He's in a contract year.
Cam Hayward is. I mean, not Cam Hayward. What's his name? Oh, Devin Bush came on as a rookie.
He's good. He's good.
Yeah, and
you think an inside play?
I think you replaced atrocious safety play with good safety play.
I agree with that too. Yes, I agree with that.
Here's the issue, though. You spun a top 10 pick to do that. Mm-hmm. And you could have probably, if you don't think this team was going to make the playoffs, I don't understand why you don't just keep your own pick and fill that void in free agency. Because you get somebody like Demarius Randall coming in free agency, because I don't think the Browns are going to re-sign him, and fill that void there, still have your pick, and probably be about the same on defense.
I
okay, so let's go over what a top 10 pick is, right? Because and I love that we're doing it in this chat. A top 10 pick is not a superstar. It is the chance to maybe get a starter, right? Maybe, but not always. Hold on, let's go over.
Wait.
Let's go over the Browns.
Wait. Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna bring
it up.
You can say the Browns are horrible.
We are talking about a chance to get a player versus an actually good player. If you want chances at good players, go cheer for the Dolphins. Because they got plenty of chances. The Steelers actually have a good player.
But Tony, aren't you guys the great Steelers organization? Aren't you guys supposed to maximize whatever pick?
Okay, hold on.
We are terrible at drafting secondary players. So thank God we finally got a good one.
Let me. Ace hasn't talked, and Ace wants to jump in. Go ahead, man.
So Tony, I think you think that we're saying like Minkah Fitzpatrick is trash, and we're not saying that by any means. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is a good safety, right? I don't think that he's a bad safety at all. But I think when you look at what a top 10 pick could potentially be, like if you guys were the number 7th or something kind of pick like that, I think that the player that you could be missing out on, like say Chase Young goes and gets hurt or something happens and he falls to the 7th position. Chase Young is a way better player than Minkah Fitzpatrick. And I think that's what people are saying. You didn't do bad getting Minkah. Like he's not bad. But is he a superstar? No. Is he better than Derwin James in that draft class that he came out with? No, he's not. He's a good safety, but it's a gamble that you took, but I don't think it's too bad because even if Miami ends up getting a higher pick, there's no guarantee that player is going to pan out.
Yeah. This is such a strange argument. So the Steelers got a good player that we all agree is a starter and made the defense better. It is a top 10 defense right now. And the argument it is, but you could have potentially maybe got someone better. You also could have potentially got a bust. Why would you want to take a chance at a bust when you can have a good player that makes your defense better?
I'm going to jump in and then Quincy, you have it. But look, on the end of the first round, it's when you see guys like Darnell Savage got picked by Green Bay, balling out, safety. But you know what the Steelers currently don't have going to the future? Big Ben got hurt this year, right? Unless you guys think the Sanford guy, which I keep forgetting his name, or Rudolph.
Quack, quack. Let's go.
If one of those two is your future, that's cool. This year, there's 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks that are potential starters, right? And you have a top 10 pick, right? So, for example, one of the Ravens' biggest problem right now, what is pass rusher, right? Yeah. Pass rusher, and you guys called me and you guys said it on our other stream, right? Our first stream, that our pass rusher was bad and blah blah blah, and you agree. One of the problems the Ravens has is good pass rushers usually go early in the first round and usually doesn't make it to free agency, right? So we are in that bind. When you have a top 10 pick is when you get those expensive positions that are very hard to find, and you have blue chip players coming. First round pick are supposed to be starters. I disagree on you. First round, top 10 picks are supposed to be Pro Bowlers. That is the difference. And then safety wise, James was a good player in the 17th pick. If you have your picks early, in theory, you could have an early second that you can jump into the late first and get your safety. But that top 10 pick, if it was a top 10 pick, we don't know because obviously we don't have draft positions yet. Could have been a special player. That's all. Quincy, take it.
All right. So me and Ace Boogie have something to tell you about Tony that you might not have remembered being in. But the Steelers are on a one-way ticket to something I call quarterback hell.
Yes.
And these kind of decisions are how you end up.
Well, this was fun.
These kind of decisions are how you end up in the 5th year of Andy Dalton's contract being like, well, it's a contract year. You might play at a Pro Bowl level. And it's because you're doing things that are for now, for the defense, for everything else on the team. But I'm telling you, dude, this is somebody who sat through 20 years of this. Ace Boogie has sat through a lot of years of this. Listen, even Sonny knows. Before Lamar Jackson, they sat through a lot of years with this, even though they were lucky. I hate the Ravens. They were lucky enough to win a Super Bowl with it. All right, but anyways, when you don't take the quarterback position and replacing the quarterback position seriously, you end up in hell. Well, and this is a one-way ticket because, hey, look, the Steelers could be anywhere from 15 to 6. I think there's a franchise quarterback in that range that you can get your hands on in this year's draft.
I don't disagree with you. I just think it's unrealistic. The Steelers just signed Ben Roethlisberger to a deal that's going to pay him $34 million a year for the next 3 years.
How old is Ben Roethlisberger?
He's 37.
Coming off of an injury.
37?
And he...
Right, but they're going to let him play. I mean, look, okay we can argue about whether or not it's a good decision, but really,
and you have your guy. You still have your guy you play Ben for a year.
No, but that's not how you build, Ronnie. Sonny, that's not how you build teams. That's why the Ravens got rid of Flacco. They did the right thing. They got rid of Flacco right away once they realized Lamar's the guy. You got to get rid of your quarterback because the most important thing on roster building right now. The Browns did the same thing. The most important thing in roster building right now is to get a quarterback on a rookie deal and just go all in around him. It's what the Chiefs are doing. It's what the Rams did. It's what the Eagles did. That is the way to build a winner right now. So if the Steelers, let's say they tank from this point, they end up with 3-13 and Tua's knees end up being a problem. So they end up getting Tua, right? But now Ben wants to come back. So the Steelers have 2 options. One, you run Ben Roethlisberger out of town. That's the Rooneys, the Steeler organization is not going to do that. 2, you sit Tua and you make him wait behind Ben. That's also a bad decision because by the time Tua ever starts, you have wasted part of his rookie contract. And if Ben were to play out his entire deal, the next 2 years, you only got 2 years of cheap Tua left. There's no point in doing that. So I don't disagree with the Steelers and their mentality right now, which is that we're riding this thing out with Ben until it's over. And maybe it's too long. Probably it's going to be too long. But that's their mentality, and I don't disagree with it. And that's why I'm okay because the pick that they were going to take is not going to be a quarterback. It was probably going to be a safety. It was going to be someone on that defense. And Minka Fitzpatrick, as I've talked about, 4 turnovers already, is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, but you're going to be in a situation where your defense is going to be too good for you to get a really bad pick like Like you know what I mean? Like
no. Your point is your point is well taken. I am not looking forward to life without Ben Roethlisberger. Trust me. Yeah. When Ben retires, the Steelers are going to be in a deep, dark place until they get a new quarterback, and that's just the NFL right now. So you know, if they had a chance at Tua, if they had a chance at Herbert, I would love for them to take it, but that's not where their mind's at right now, and so that's why I think the Minka trade was fine.
See, for me, that's not where John Elway's mind was when Peyton Manning left the Broncos, and we saw what happened there. I think the Steelers are on a one-way track to signing whatever the next 3-year version is of Case Keenum.
Hey, listen, Andy Dalton, would he look good in black and gold? Maybe we'll find out in a couple years.
Yeah, they'll trade for Andy Dalton. Maybe give Blake Bortles a chance. Like,
listen, Blake, listen, I saw Blake in Heinz Field put up 40 on the Steelers, so he already looks good in Heinz.
Hey, he's big just like Ben. He could be the thing.
He's got the same body type. He looks just like
oh my God.
These are the thoughts that I thought Deshaun Kaiser was gonna be Cam Newton. Okay.
Ooh, Connor in the chat. Connor in the chat says Steelers are going to trade for Rosen. I actually wouldn't hate that. That
is a quarterback held decision.
I wouldn't.
That kid is ruined.
I'm not sorry evaluating quarterbacks, but I wouldn't hate that.
They ruined that kid. That kid's done. I've seen it.
He's probably done. And he was my QB1 too.
He's played for like the 2 worst teams in the last 2 years, and he's been treated like garbage.
Let's be honest. If you're Rosen, you're saying, when my family did something bad to something that I got this horrible karma. Like, I thought out of college the dude was not going to be bad. I actually thought he was a safe pick to be at worst an average quarterback, right? Not necessarily a superstar, but at worst a Joe Flacco, that type of quarterback. And I was like, okay, so he went to a no O-line, and then they trade him to the Dolphins, which again has no O-line, has no weapons. I mean, yeah, he might be ruined for the rest of his life.
I think the Ravens have shown, and I think when you look around, I'm still kicking myself over us drafting John Ross over not only Deshaun Watson, but also Patrick Mahomes. Still kicking myself over that one. Still kicking myself over drafting Billy Price over Lamar Jackson just for him to go to the Ravens and end up balling out. But I think that those guys are showing you now that scrambling quarterbacks are the future of this football league. And I think that guys like Rosen, me personally, I thought Lamar and Baker were the best 2 quarterbacks for that draft class. And when both of your teams got them, I said, we have the worst quarterback in the division now. Like, we're going to be in trouble. So I think with Rosen, I'm not so surprised that things went how they are and how things are going with Darnold, because this is a league now where you got edge rushers like Chase Young, edge rushers like Myles Garrett, where you're going to have to be able to come up with something on the fly, like just standing in a pocket. You look around the National Football League, period. Like, we have an offensive line problem, but majority of the NFL really has offensive line problems. You look at Seattle, Russell Wilson's running for his life, but he's still able to make plays. And that's where I think the NFL is headed. And that's why the Ravens are doing so well with Lamar Jackson.
I know who the Steelers' next quarterback is going to be. I figured it out while we were talking.
Daddy?
Baker Mayfield. They got 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. They get rid of him. He needs a nice second. He's a short bus ride, too. We'll welcome him right over. It's fine. I liked Baker coming out of college, too.
Nah, I don't think Baker.
Stop it! This is ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Let's address it. Then we'll talk about Lamar and the MVP.
Baker my fantasy team, bro. Baker, my fantasy team.
I got y'all. I promise y'all. I got y'all. All right, I'm not about to sit here and act like Baker Mayfield has been playing amazing. But if we gonna act like he accidentally broke the rookie touchdown record last year, like are we gonna act like
he would have accidentally broke the interception record if he started all 16 games?
Okay, so
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. When he broke that rookie touchdown record, he did it in 13 games, and he did it with less interceptions than Peyton Manning did. Okay, so whatever you want to say about how many interceptions he's throwing, he for a young quarterback who plays the way he does, who has to figure out the game the way he does because he's not athletic, he's doing well. Now, Tony, because you don't got a quarterback right now. Okay?
Listen, I would rather have Mason Rudolph right now than Baker Mayfield. Okay, that's where we are.
No.
And the quality has gone back to the 412. Okay.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Chris.
Did Mason Rudolph break the rookie touchdown?
12 interceptions already? Okay.
Did Mason Rudolph break the rookie touchdown record last year? Has he won 5 games?
He's won 2 so far, but he's on pace. He's on pace. He's won. Listen, he's won about as many as Baker has this year. So he's on pace.
Yeah, I mean, the Baker beat the Ravens though. Did he beat the Ravens?
He got knocked out before he could. Cheap shot.
Oh, it wasn't a cheap shot.
Absolute cheap shot. Should have been thrown out. Should have been thrown out of the league, honestly.
Okay.
How is Earl Thomas? He's still in the league after that hit. Unbelievable.
Oh my
So
god.
glad that Vontez Burfict is no longer in stripes for this conference.
But look, real talk. Somebody said it here. If the Steelers really want to do this right, a guy that I think they should take a shot at, Teddy Bridgewater. He's 26. To be honest, Tony,
They got 2 more. It's 2 years to wait. Though,
I
for the
know,
quarterback.
but the problem is, who knows what Big Ben's gonna be? He had Tommy John surgery.
No, I agree with this. I'm not saying Ben comes back next year and doesn't miss a beat. Although he does say, he's doing the whole I've had this problem for a while. I'm going to feel better than I ever did. We'll hear about that during training camp next year. He's gonna be like Robo Ben out there with the bionic arm. But their backup will be Mason Rudolph. I mean, this is not the Steelers quarterback situation is what it is. Ben will be the starter. Mason will be the backup. Duck will be the third quarterback. So. We can sit here and debate who the Steelers quarterback should be next year. Realistically, it's going to be Ben, for better or worse.
It's going to be Ben Roethlisberger with his new backup that they're going to trade for Joe Flacco, and then Andy Dalton's going to come over in free agency.
We're getting this band back together, boys.
And guess what? We're going to have Josh McCown coaching the team, baby. Yeah.
There we go. Go full circle. And when all those old quarterbacks get injured, they'll call Green Bay and say, "Can we have Kaiser? We need a young guy." Okay.
Green Bay will be like, "Yeah, man. Here's $200 too. We'll cover the bus ride, bro. Like, here you go."
So I want to talk because God knows, last time I remember being without boys trying to defend my boy Lamar Jackson, and me trying to pick the Ravens with being first. And again, I still think that Quincy, I still think the Browns are going to be a good team. I think the Browns, if they go back to be disciplined, they can. I said it earlier in the stream. They can be a playoff team, especially because I personally don't believe in the Bills. I think we are going to beat the Bills. I think the Browns can beat the Bills too. And at that point, now you're roaming into that playoff realm, right? But they have to be disciplined. They cannot be trash. But question is, how do you guys feel about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? All 3 of you guys have seen Lamar Jackson this year. Obviously, Cleveland saw him last year. Bengals did. Steelers only this year. Lamar didn't play against you guys last year. But thoughts about Lamar Jackson? What do you think? And the team and the Ravens team. Go Ace.
I mean, I've never had an issue with Lamar Jackson, to be honest with you. What I didn't like when I first came on here, and I was wrong about that, I'll be able to admit that, was I had question marks about the receivers that you guys were putting around him because I felt like there weren't enough guys that were going to give him a fair enough shot to look better as a quarterback. Clearly, I was wrong. Clearly, Hollywood Brown has been very solid for you guys. I know he's been injured recently, but he's been solid, right? He's come out and did his job. You guys also have Boykin as well. I think that he's voted pretty well for you guys, Mark Andrews. But I've always been on the side of Lamar Jackson because at one point, I live in Orlando now, but before that, I lived in Tallahassee, and that was pretty much no country down there. I'm an Ohio State fan because I'm from Cincinnati, but the nose kind of run it down there. And I remember the time where they first played Lamar Jackson, and a lot of people thought that it was a lot of hype, that, this guy was overrated, and he came in and he just completely destroyed them. Like, this was a defense that had Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, and he completely dismantled them. And so, I kind of from afar became a little bit of a fan of Lamar Jackson. And when the draft happened, I saw so much criticism of him, and it was just crazy because me knowing that he came playing out of a pro-style offense, I'm like, this guy can actually play quarterback. So when I heard people saying that he should be a running back and a receiver, I was like, this is borderline ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So honestly, it sucks because you guys drafted him. I wanted us to draft him. So it's like I can't cheer for him because he's on the Ravens. But I think the Ravens they made the right move. You moved away from Joe Flacco, who I think was definitely a weakness. I'm still kind of questionable about your edge rushers. Your linebackers are not that good, like we told you. But I think that overall the Ravens do look good. I think the run game, like you talked about when you first had me on, has looked good, especially with Lamar Jackson. And I think Lamar Jackson is just doing his thing, and the Ravens are going to go as far as he takes them.
Okay, so before Quincy goes, I have to make a point. Yes, our outside backers are not great. Judon has been good, but counterpart has not. Middle linebackers, for some reason, I'm disappointed with our young guys, which one of them got chip for Marcus Peters. But the two guys that we have brought, they ball out. Bynes, which they're older guys, Bynes and Tony's boy Ford, LJ Ford.
Went out.
I don't even know. I don't even know how. I mean, they're both playing out of their mind. I'm not even sure. I mean, because obviously they were in the street. LJ got cut by the Eagles. But dude, both of them. LJ, I actually have been happier with LJ than I've been with Bynes. Dude has been good. So I think linebacker we're better now that how we started at the beginning of the year. Outside backer we still have questions. Go ahead, Quincy.
Yeah, I think the defense for you guys is just going to be inconsistent all year. I mean, like some days I think you guys are going to look good. Some days I don't. Marcus Peters is kind of the gift and curse, but let's not escape from the actual question here. I know the whole chat wants to hear what I think about Lamar Jackson. I know y'all been on my YouTube videos. Quincy, why do you hate Lamar Jackson? Nah. You were there with me in training camp. Do you think I hate Lamar Jackson?
I don't, but then when we did this live stream, your messaging was conflicted. And training camp, you were like,
let me tell everybody what my whole thing with Lamar Jackson is. All right. Lamar Jackson, has he improved as a passer from last year? Yes. Mechanically, yes, he is a little bit better as a passer. Was Lamar Jackson a terrible passer to begin with, though? No, he was not. He was a good passer at Louisville that was not used to his full extent last year. So everybody thought he was this awful passer. Now that he looks competent back there, people are running away with it because they set the bar too low on Lamar Jackson as a passer. Not as a runner, obviously, but as a passer, people set the bar too low. Every time he completes a forward pass, people go, "Oh my God, this Lamar Jackson is incredible." Mm-hmm. Like it's to a point to where it's like, hey, I think he's a Pro Bowler. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he belongs in the MVP conversation as much as Kirk Cousins doesn't belong in the MVP conversation.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, here's about the MVP quarterbacks don't throw 9 for 20. Okay, I don't care what the excuse is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just because I don't think he's an MVP does not mean that I don't think he's not playing the best out of all of the AFC North quarterbacks. I don't think he's going to end up being a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. That is a rough take for me to take right now, but I will take it because I feel like it's going to bear fruit in the future. Lamar is very good. He has his holes, though. I think they're gonna be able to run the ball against the Patriots, and I think he's gonna look very good against New England. And I think we're gonna get ready to hear all of the Lamar Jackson love. You guys will deserve it if you beat New England. I'll let y'all have y'all day. But there's gonna be when this team plays San Francisco, they are not gonna look good. I'm just gonna prepare you for that. That defense that they have there, I think they're miles better than what New England has.
I don't know. New England's very good too.
Hey, I thought the same thing about the 49ers. I was like, man, they ain't that good. Who are these dudes? Rick Armstead still in the league? DeBoer fuck. I haven't heard. Solomon Thomas is a bust. I was saying all of that before the San Francisco 49ers game. And then we played them, and I was like, oh, this is different.
Listen,
we got it first. Best believe we got it first. We got it.
Listen, Mason Rudolph only completed, I think, 2 or 3 passes more than 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage against the 49ers. The only other quarterback to do that? Tim friggin' Tebow. Okay, it was very bad.
Just gonna be real with you. That defense is real.
They're real. I think the Patriots are real too. I mean, I think
they turned the ball over 5 times against the Steelers. And still
Quincy,
won.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson, is he an MVP candidate?
No.
Was until he lost to the Ravens.
I don't think there's a clear MVP candidate.
But
Really.
there's a couple.
I think if you're looking at this like, oh, well, somebody has to win the MVP. Yeah, sure. Like you could throw Lamar's name in there, but I don't think, as far as we think of guys like, hey, that guy's having a true MVP.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I think
so the reality is Lamar is in the MVP conversation, but this year versus other years, we don't have a Patty Mahomes torching the league up. You just have a couple of players having good years, but not a spectacular year like Patty Mahomes had the year before or other players. I got you. If that's your argument, I buy in. But if the argument is like, well, the guys that are currently, he's not in the candidacy, I disagree.
I'm saying, like, if in a year, if there's a year where Kirk Cousins is in the MVP conversation, then like, you have to say, hey, he's an MVP candidate with a grain of salt.
Okay, Tony, your turn, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think Lamar Jackson, didn't he set a record when he played the Steelers? I think he was the first running back to throw 3 interceptions in a game, so that was pretty cool.
Running back jokes, come on.
The Ravens did all the time.
You thought I wasn't going to lead with a joke. I mean, have we not done this enough times? Listen, Lamar has been fine this year. Lamar has surprised me. Has been much better than I expected. The entire Ravens team has been better than I expected. The only thing about the Ravens that has really been like legitimately surprising to me is that the defense has been not good. I don't remember the last time a Baltimore defense has not been in the top half of the league when you talk about, you know, some of the better defenses. So that has been a real shock to me. Although we talked about this, right? The pass rush might be a problem. The linebacking core might be a problem. The secondary, although they have Marcus Peters now. I think Lamar Jackson has been perfectly fine as a quarterback. He's been great as a runner. The thing I want to see from Lamar going forward is I want to see him play, you know, without a lead. The guy has been, you know, in the lead, or I think the most he was down was against the Seahawks by 4, right? I mean, the one game that they really went down was against the Browns. They lost that game. So, I just want to see him kind of fight back from a deficit. And then, you know, and I want to see him play against the Patriots, play against the 49ers. Otherwise, I will say this. I think he is an MVP candidate, because if we're talking about the most valuable player on a team, I think if you took Lamar Jackson off the Ravens and you put just an average quarterback in that offense, I don't think they make the playoffs. I don't think they're 5-2. I think all of a sudden the AFC North is wide open. But with Lamar Jackson, I think the Ravens do win the division in all likelihood. I don't see this team dropping a lot of easy games because really what it takes to stop Lamar Jackson is one of the better defenses in the league, which is why I think, you know, Lamar struggles against teams like the Steelers. And like I said, we'll see how he does coming down the stretch against the Patriots and 49ers. But I would put him in the MVP candidacy. I think he's been better than I expected. I just want to see him in different situations before we crown him as being this, you know, the next coming of quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, so this is what I told you guys last time. I said to you guys, we're going to have a strong running game, and that's going to set up easy completions to Lamar Jackson. And what has happened is we have a strong running game, and that has set up easy completion. Now, he has thrown the ball better than I thought. He's thrown the ball downfield. He has sealed games with throws downfield as well. Now, against Seattle, that conditions for that day were horrible. I mean, Russell Wilson was 20 completions. He attempted like 42 passes, I think. But the other thing is the problem, the team, like, look, I was watching film from the Seattle game, right? And I'm looking into this team, and they had coverages that I'm like, this is a perfect coverage, right? But the perfect coverage, when you have 3 or 4 receivers out there, is a lot of open space. And a lot of open spaces, Lamar Jackson's going to hurt you. And that's what happened against Seattle. So perfect coverage is not working. Looks like defenses are struggling to figure out how, because dude is not only fast, it's not only that he's a running quarterback, dude is shifty as heck, right? He on the open field, he has stop moves, he has juke move, he has spin you out. Plus, if you want to play him tight in the line, he still has the arm to throw the ball. Go ahead, Quincy.
I'm going to make your chat explode real quick.
Guys, prepare yourself.
I think the Ravens have a better record if Kyler Murray was starting than Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, no way.
Uh,
right now, or like a year from now? Like Kyler Murray today?
He's saying right now.
Have you been watching what he's been doing in Arizona?
No. Listen,
he got worked against New Orleans because that's another good defense.
Yeah,
look, I like Murray. This is no diss on Murray.
I'm not trying to say like, hey, Lamar's bad or anything, and Kyler's like. I just think
I like this take. I
think if you compare them as runners, I think they're comparable. They're comparable runners, both of them. Both are very fast. Both are very shifty. Both would do well in the Baltimore system. Yeah. And if we're talking about as a quarterback, as a passer, I think Kyler Murray is a better passer than Lamar Jackson.
Hold on. This is what you deserve right now. Okay, so
hey, we're back.
But I think that take is bad. I mean, I don't want to put on the screen what I'm seeing in the chat, but this is I love Kyler Murray, to be honest. I thought he was the best quarterback coming out of this year. But Kyler Murray, although he's a good runner, he is miles away from what Lamar is.
Miles?
Oh, yeah. If you see
Miles? Have you watched him?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Look. You don't have to bury Kyler Murray to bring up Lamar Jackson.
I watched him live because I was in that game too. But Murray has multiple times, and I don't understand why he does this. This, like, if I was a Cardinal fan, this just like infuriates me. Dude gets out of the pocket, and he sees people coming. Now, Lamar's take is, I'm going to make them miss. That's not Kyle Murray's. Kyle Murray's take is, I'm either going to slide or go out of bounds. My problem is not that he doesn't want to take the guys that can punish him. I'm good if he doesn't want to take that risk. My problem is, you're outside of the freaking pocket, and you're going to head outside and take a 3-yard loss instead of just being smart and throwing the ball outside. You're outside the pocket. There's no look. This is multiple times that I've seen this guy taking 3-4 yard last 8 down. Look, against the Bears. Thank God they're playing Mitch Trubisky. The dude, all he has to do is burn clock, and he decides to scramble. And not only scramble, let's go out of bounds so we can stop the clock and get in a free timeout. Mm-hmm. He doesn't play necessarily smart when he is a runner. Again, this is not a diss on Kyle Murray because I like him. I don't know if they should have drafted him because I thought they should have tried to work with Rosen and get a guy like Nick Bosa. But the argument is there that, if they really didn't like Rosen, I got it. Quarterback is the most important position in your team. And if you really felt that Murray was better than Rosen, and at this point it looks like, again, in my opinion, Rosen is broken, that's fine. But, yeah, no. The argument that we would be better with – no, I think if Murray was here, we'd probably be 3-4, maybe.
I think you beat the Browns with Kyler Murray.
Hell no. The problem with – look, and
did you beat the Steelers? Would you beat the Steelers with Kyler Murray?
I'm gonna get Ace to talk in this, but
he's got to lose. He's got to give himself 2 more losses. Would you beat the Steelers with Kyler Murray?
The Browns game was defined on these 2 things. Game was tight. We were driving the ball, and Ingram fumbles the ball. Boom, change the momentum. You guys score again. There was really at that point. I mean, you guys scored. It was a 14-point game. He fumbled. I think it was in the 25-yard.
There were also 2 Lamar Jackson interceptions.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying when the game turned was at that point. And second, not having our boy Brandon Williams, Chubb was running wild. Chubb was running wild. So I think
I'm not saying Kyler Murray was going to be out there playing DB though. Like I think as a quarter, I think he's just. I think
a little short. Might play nickel. He could play in the nickel maybe.
Yeah, I think he makes more plays that extend drives in that game. I just don't think this is as ridiculous as an argument as everybody makes it think. And I think in 3 years we're going to be like, oh, he might have had something. Because the fact that the Cardinals have 3 wins right now, and they were the Cardinals last year.
Kyler Murray probably has a better career than Lamar Jackson does from this point forward.
I don't know, but I think Kyler Murray is going to be good. My point is, I don't know if he would have make us better than Lamar right now. Ace, take it, man, because you've been waiting patiently.
No problem. 3 things that I'm going to say. Number one, Kyler Murray is definitely better than Josh Rosen. It's not even close. They had 3 wins total last year. They have 3 wins right now. Number two, I'm going to say that Kyler Murray is a better passer than Lamar Jackson, but he does not compare to Lamar Jackson as a runner. Take this from the guy that had to play both of them back to back. And Lamar Jackson set a rushing record against us. He ran for 157 yards against us. Kyler Murray ran for 97 or 93 or something like that, but it's nowhere close in terms of how they are as runners, I think. The Ravens, though, I think still are pretty close to 5-2, or essentially maybe a little bit less than that with Kyler Murray at quarterback. But I think Lamar Jackson is far it's not even a comparison. You're basically talking about Michael Vick, but a guy that's a more accurate Michael Vick when you talk about Lamar Jackson.
Okay, so go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
You sure?
Yep. We're going to go on a giant tangent. We don't need it.
Okay. So we talk about Lamar. The other guy that we have to talk a little bit more in depth is Mr. Baker. It is the Baker. Because
Bake Show. I love the Bake Show.
I thought, and this is just going to be my honest opinion. And back then I was not doing YouTube, so I don't have this on record. But I had a buddy of mine that is a Broncos fan. And in that year, he was like, I don't know what the Broncos should draft. And I said, if Baker Mayfield makes it to the 5th pick, you draft him. And he actually was like, no, I think I like that Chubb kid because Chubb and Miller will be disruptive. If that Baker Mayfield kid makes it to the 5th pick, you draft him because he's going to be good. Now, saying that, I thought Baker last year was great. And I told this to Quincy before. And that's one of the reasons I think they were going to be legit this year. Now, as I told Quincy and my boy Big Weekend on Sports, shout out to you, man. My biggest problem was when the owner / GM decided, oh my God, Freddie Kitchen is a treasure that we need to keep. And we need to keep him as head coach. And I thought one of the things with Greg Williams was a tough guy. He probably, put more discipline to the players and was more focused on the team. I thought if they would have kept Freddie Kitchens, which probably wouldn't got a head coaching job anywhere, he probably would have stayed with the Browns as an OC. Like the setup that once they fire Hugh, if they would have kept the same setup, I thought the team would have been more disciplined. They probably would have been better. But I still think Baker is a good quarterback. He has interception problems. The question is, can he clean that up? I think he can. I think this biggest problem sometimes at least what it looks to me, he tries to force the ball a little bit too much. But that's my 2 cents. Quincy, I'm going to leave you for last, but you can rebuttal everybody, right? Because you're the Browns. You're the Baker guy like I did with Lamar. You can rebuttal everybody.
Oh, no, I haven't heard nothing ridiculous yet.
Okay, so go ahead.
I think, I thought Baker Mayfield, like I said, was the best quarterback from this class initially. I think this year it has a lot to do with, like you said, the coaching. Freddie Kitchens, I think, is going to end up being the scapegoat for this Browns team, especially the way that the season has gone. Baker is just in a situation where I think he's letting too much of the off-the-field stuff get to him, throwing jabs back and forth with Rex Ryan. And it just seems like he's not as focused as the leader of that team, being focused on what's going on the field versus what's going on off the field. And I think as him being the leader, we look for the quarterback to be the guy that's level-headed and things of that nature. And I think when you saw some of it rear its ugly head was last year when Hugh Jackson went to the Bengals, right? He's constantly egging on, talking about Hugh Jackson and stuff like that instead of focusing on winning games. So I think that's my only issue with Baker Mayfield. Obviously, he has to stop turning the ball over. I don't think that this is going to be the Baker Mayfield that we're going to see. I think that he can bounce back. The only worry is that you saw in the offseason he made comments about Duke Johnson's trade requests. Some of those things, the only thing I worry is about him saying something about OBJ because the media cannot wait for that to happen. And if that happens, that would be terrible for the Browns. But I think that Baker Mayfield ultimately will bounce back. He just has to show that he's that mature leader that you have to be when you're a quarterback.
I will say, though, real quick, and I'll let Tony talk. The thing about Baker, though, is like, we could say he's not focused. I don't think him going back and forth with Rex Ryan is the problem, though. Like, he was playing well when he was doing the whole Hugh Jackson thing in the media, like, not last year. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of how he gets down. And I understand people ain't going to like how he gets down and the way he gets down when he's bad. People are going to like the really pour salt in the wounds. But, I think him being himself, I don't think that's the root of his problems.
But that's a thing doing it against media, and there's another thing doing it against players. That has been my issue with Tony's boy Big Ben when he starts calling players out, right? And that's other players get antsy and get pissy with that. That's problematic.
The thing with Duke Johnson was, one, it's a mistake. He made a mistake. He admitted it was a mistake to say anything on that situation. And his first year being the leader of the team, he made that mistake. But like, he hasn't really came even close to doing something like that this year. And in the situations they've been at, he could have threw his wide receivers under the bus for some of those interceptions he threw. You know what I mean?
He did make some comments today, right, that were kind of like, I'm tired of all the he didn't call it dysfunction. What did he say? Like the undisciplined play or something like that?
I mean, he's got to say that, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're talking about throwing players under the bus. I mean,
He didn't say, hey, like, here's the thing between calling your offense out and he's calling himself out. And there's a difference between that and being like, well, Dontrell Hilliard, he has to catch that ball in there. That's the stuff that Ben's been accused of,
Well, okay, can we stop? Can we look? Are we really going to sit here today, knowing what we know about Antonio Brown, and we're still going to say it was a Ben problem? Like,
Antonio Brown makes it easy to kind of throw some of these things out because he is clearly Antonio Brown, and that was an issue. But I do think that there are some valid things about what Antonio Brown did complain about.
Okay.
Because he's not the only one that has thought that.
I agree with that. But the problem in 2018 with the Steelers was not Ben Roethlisberger, right? It was Antonio Brown. And we know that. We've seen that. The Raiders, Patriots, right? So, when we talk about now, and I liked Baker Mayfield a lot coming out of college. He was my QB2, I think, but I loved him going to the Browns because I thought going to the Browns, he brings the mentality. I think I talked about this last time, but I'll say it again. He brings the mentality to Cleveland that they needed, right? That's a losing organization, a culture of losing. And Baker is not that guy. He does not have a culture of losing inside him, right? That is a winner. He was a winner at Oklahoma. I think he could eventually turn it around in Cleveland. The problem for Cleveland is that I feel like, they're like Conor McGregor, but if Conor McGregor went right from like, the ascending guy, and he skipped like everything before. He skipped over like winning the title and defending the title. Just went right to like fighting Floyd Mayweather. Right? It's like, we're just gonna go right there. Like, no, you got like there's steps you have to go along the way. And what we're seeing now is a team that's just not ready for this level. And it's Freddie Kitchens not being ready to be coaching this football team. It's Baker Mayfield not being ready to have this kind of spotlight on him. The entire organization is that way. They skipped too many parts. If this were a team that were coming in still kind of under the radar, if they never made the Odell Beckham trade, if it was still just like, hey, maybe the Browns could do this, maybe 9-7, maybe 10-6, instead of like the AFC Championship game, they're going to be with the Patriots. Like if they wouldn't have skipped that step, maybe this team could have been something this year. But the problem is, we could all tell right away on day one when they lost that game to the Titans. It was like, okay, this is over now. Like there's no chance for this team to turn it around from here because it is just going to implode, and it did. I look, can Baker? Go ahead.
I'll give you that the Browns did skip a step. They went from looking better with 7-8-1 last year, and then they jumped straight to some people giving them Super Bowl expectations. Now, I think that brunt has been put on the fan base when it's not reasonable to put that on the fan base, because the fan base was like, hey, we can make the playoffs, win a game. That was the expectations coming into this season. ESPN and the networks were like throwing all that stuff on the Browns. You know what I mean? But yeah, they did skip a step. And that is a huge part of the piling on that's going on right now, is that they skipped that step from going from decent to good to great.
Right.
They missed that step. And now they're being looked at as a team that's supposed to make the AFC Championship, but they're probably a team that should just worry about making the playoffs however they can.
And I think Freddie. I mean, ultimately, though, I think Freddie Kitchens is and I talked about this before. I just don't think Freddie Kitchens is an NFL caliber head coach. And I know that it's a scapegoat thing, and you can just get rid of him. It's a Browns thing to get rid of him after 1 year. But man, we've watched a lot of bad Browns head coaches over the years. The mistakes that he's making are just basic football 101 stuff, right? You talked about the special teams running out there on 4th and 11 and having to take a delay game or a false start, whatever they took to go to 4th and 16, right? The play calling against on the night game that they played, I forget which game it was, but the play calling down by the goal line there. I mean, there's just so many plays and so many times when you look at this team and you go, they're just not well coached. I mean, we talk about the penalties and the undisciplined play there. They just need a new head coach. And the problem for the Browns is that I feel like they don't want to be that organization anymore. They don't want to be the organization that gets rid of coaches too quickly, even though this is the time when everyone can see like Freddie Kitchens just isn't that guy. So unless he's going to do a learning on the job type of thing, this is the one time that they're going to make the wrong decision to not fire a coach.
Here's the thing, though, is the firing the coach. You know what I mean? Every time the Browns freaking fire a coach, they get killed for being, they get killed.
No, like, it's a catch-22. I agree.
We fired Hugh Jackson last year. Like, people act like Jimmy Haslam's this impatient dude. Hugh Jackson won 1 game in 3 years, and he got 3 years, and people are sitting here like, oh, well, Jimmy Haslam can't keep a coach. He kept Hugh Jackson for 3 years, 2.5 years. He should have been here for more than a year. But now, you know what I mean? So if the Browns fire Freddie Kitchens in the middle of the year, they're going to get killed. If they fire Freddie Kitchens at the end of the year, why didn't you fire him at the bye week? That's just the Browns. Yeah. I agree. And it's like, who are we going to replace Freddie Kitchens with? Who's going to be here? My thing is like, hey, look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm sold on this whole Freddie Kitchens experiment. There has been some question marks this entire season. But I'm just going to say that you might as well. The guy has 9 games to prove if he's an NFL head coach. If he can go down this stretch and have the Browns at least over 500, because that's what's going to take, Freddie deserves another year. Because that is a hell of a coaching job to turn around from all of this dysfunction early on, from all of this penalties and all this garbage that's made the Browns lose a bunch of games against a lot of good teams, but, minus the Titans. That was just a mess. But, that's what it's going to take for Freddie Kitchens to prove that he is an NFL head coach. I'm not with the fire him already because, like, what's that going to do? And I'm not with the whole crowd that wants to act like Greg Williams was this great head coach or would have been this great head coach for this team. There are a lot of players on this team that have came out and they said they hated Greg Williams. They have said a lot. And it's like, I get Greg Williams is seen as a disciplinarian, but if you have had to have him as your head coach, the dude is an egomaniac. The dude always puts himself over. He puts the most ridiculous. If Greg Williams were the head coach of this team, this would be the dumpster fire that you guys think it is. Like, Odell would be at odds with the head coach. Odell would be throwing temper tantrums on the sideline. Jarvis Landry would be losing his mind. I think the one thing that Freddie Kitchens is good at is the fact that this team is 2-5 right now. The fact that they have been such a joke in the NFL, the fact that they have been so bad, and the fact that Odell has not lost his mind on that sideline. Because be honest with me, at the beginning of the season, I would have told you the Browns would be 2-5 and they would have got embarrassed on national TV 3 times, and Odell would have had 2 receptions, 6 in all 3 of those games. You would have thought you would have saw Odell meltdown.
I would say he's in his best behavior. I haven't seen him. I don't know what he's doing in the locker room, but at least outside, he's projecting himself for you won.
Everybody in the national media was like, well, what if this goes bad? Odell, he's going to lose his mind. And Odell ain't losing his mind yet. And, and I think we're at the Patriots game was the time for a meltdown. And I think this team was coached under Greg Williams. Greg Williams is not functional. The way that dude operates is dysfunctional. And you would have saw sideline dysfunction. I think right now you're just seeing like
that's the only place we're not seeing dysfunction because on the field, here's
the thing though. I think there's an argument to say that's fixable because that dysfunction is more procedural. I think there's something technical going with the procedures on this coaching staff to get the shit on the field. Sorry, I don't know if you don't like, but to get the stuff on the field. that is dysfunctional, and that is a result of there being no real head coaching experience on that coaching staff. I mean, when Steve Wilkes is the veteran head coach, and he had 1 year in Arizona where he was terrible, you're in a
really been good as a DC in Cleveland either, right?
Yeah, they have. I'm not going to poop on the defense. Defense hasn't been why they're 2-5. The defense has played.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I thought the Browns right now. It was funny because at the beginning of the year when we were talking, we said like, well, obviously the stronger suit is the offense, and the defense has some questions. I actually think the defense has been solid.
Yeah, and I understand like the Browns defense isn't always going to look great, but when your quarterback's turning the ball over and throwing 11 interceptions, yeah, you're going to put your defense in some compromising spots where they ain't going to look great.
Go ahead, Ace.
I think I can relate to Quincy on the coach thing because we too have a rookie head coach with Zach Taylor. And a lot of people are saying like, hey, let's get rid of Zach Taylor. Zach has made definitely his fair share of mistakes because not only is he the head coach, he's also calling the offense. So he's definitely had his fair share of questionable play calls and things of that nature. But I think when you have a new coach like that, it's tough to just can them after 1 year. You kind of have to see what you got there. You have to see how they kind of balance things. And just as Quincy has said, you wouldn't expect for them to be 2-5 and Odell Beckham to not be throwing temper tantrums. The same could be said for the Bengals as well, right? Like Joe Mixon is frustrated. He's having one of the worst seasons. The Bengals, period, are having one of the worst rushing seasons in NFL history. And Joe Mixon, you can clearly tell that it's wearing on him. And you can look around at the AJ Green, the circus of everyone saying, are these guys going to get traded? What's going on with Andy Dalton? And this team has honestly, kind of weathered the storm, even though they're 0-8. Like usually with that situation, you see a lot of teams kind of melt down. You start to see a lot of fingers get pointed around. You start to see outbursts and stuff on the sideline. So with that rookie head coach, sometimes it's growing pains. I know it's hard for you guys to see that because you got John Harbaugh. You also have, I can't believe his name is escaping me, but Mike Tomlin, as veteran head coaches. But when you got a new guy, you kind of got to feel things out before you really know what you're going to do moving forward.
And that's a great segue because as we're trying to finish the stream, guys, and a couple things before I ask this question, please hit the like on the video, guys. Also, on the description, there's Tony's website for Locked On Steelers, Ace Boogie's YouTube, and Quincy's YouTube. Go follow them. They're a great follow, guys. I like to hear opinions from every other, especially in the AFC North, because I want to see. It's the reason I do Behind Enemy Lines, right? So go check their channels out. Also hit the like, and if you're not a subscriber to the channel, obviously subscribe to the channel. Okay, segue that I wanted to ask because we're running out of time was Mike Tomlin. Is this the year that the Steelers can Mike Tomlin? And the only reason I'm asking, Tony, living in Maryland, there is a ton of Steelers fans in Maryland. Right. Maryland's a transitional state. There's fans from all over the place. But Steelers are, there are a lot of Steelers fans, and a lot of them are like, yeah, I think we should get rid of him. I'm asking you to start, and I want to know Quincy what is Quincy and Ace's opinion, but do you think they're going to fire Tomlin?
I don't think they're going to fire him. I think that Mike Tomlin is thinking about walking away at some point. It does feel like there's a segment of the front office, specifically the coach and the GM, Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert, who are both probably at a point in their career where they feel like, look, Ben's going to retire in a couple of years, like you guys talked about. It's not going to be fun after Ben Roethlisberger retires, trying to find another quarterback. So maybe this is the time to bail out. Mike Tomlin's kids are in college now, and he's at a time I think in his life where maybe he wants to walk away and spend more time with them, that kind of thing. Kevin Colbert is definitely the general manager, definitely in that spot. He told ownership, look, I want my contract to go year to year from this point forward because he might walk away at any point. We're going to fire Mike Tomlin. I mean, it would take something really radical to happen, like the Steelers losing last night, which might have happened if not for a couple plays there in the second quarter. I don't think so. Look, the Steelers are not an organization that fires coaches, right? They have not fired a coach in the last 60 years, right? Going back to like 1960, whenever they hired Chuck Noll. So they, to set a precedent now that, hey, when your star quarterback gets hurt and you have a bad year, that's the time to fire a coach. Boy, it sets a terrible precedent for whoever comes in to replace Mike Tomlin. And what are the Steelers are going to get that's better than Mike Tomlin? Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. I mean, if they have a losing season this year, I'm not convinced that they definitely are. They probably are. But I mean, there's an outside chance this team, miracles its way to 8-8 or 9-7. So yeah, I don't think this team fires Mike Tomlin. Now, there's also been a rumor, and I being the tinfoil hat guy on my podcast, I love the idea that the Washington Redskins are all in on Mike Tomlin. I don't know if you guys heard this rumor, but Dan Snyder, according to Ed Werder, Dan Snyder had a list of potential head coaches to replace Jay Gruden. That list was the defensive coordinator in Tampa Bay, Todd Bowles, having a good year, right? Bucs defense looks much better. It was the offensive coordinator of Kansas City. I'm going to forget his name. Eric Bieniemy, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, that was on his list. And then Mike Tomlin. Now, okay, the other two make a lot of sense. What is Mike Tomlin doing on that list? I have no idea. So, now the other thing to know is that, like I said, Tomlin's son is going to the University of Maryland. The University of Maryland is like a 15-minute drive from the Washington Redskins facilities. So, is there smoke there? Is there fire there? There was also on the Steelers Reddit, there was a guy who worked at Pittsburgh International like 2 days after this report came out that saw the Redskins private jet in Pittsburgh International Airport. I don't know if that has anything to do with this, but it's funny. So maybe that happens. Maybe Tomlin actually decides, hey, I'm going to walk away because I want to be closer to my son, that kind of thing. But otherwise, there's no way Tomlin leaves. So why he could leave, but the Steelers have no reason to fire him.
Okay.
All right, hey Sonny, let's do some role play. You be Dan Snyder. I'm gonna be Mike Tomlin. Ask me if I would like to take the Redskins head coaching job.
Mike, I have a great offer for you. Do you want to be the Skins head coaching job?
Hell no. I got championship rings. I don't need to coach the Redskins. What is it? I got credentials.
I know.
What if it's like
I got a running back coach y'all can hire? You think I'm about to go to? I'd rather retire. I'd rather coach in the XFL. I'd rather coach for the University of Maryland. Okay.
Not actually. Ooh, I like that one too.
That's where
I'll bring that up on tomorrow's podcast.
Yeah. The other team that I heard wants Tomlin is Atlanta.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin ain't. Here's the thing. Mike Tomlin ain't going to no organization that ain't like top flight. Okay, like he got the potential. Unless he really want to coach, why? If you're Mike Tomlin, would you even coach anywhere? It's like Bill Cowher.
Money. It would have to be money. It would be crazy amounts of money.
You know how much money the Browns threw at Bill Cowher, and Bill Cowher from Cleveland. Okay, and they're like, "Come on, Bill Cowher, come coach the Browns, come be the savior." And Bill Cowher is like, "I will stay at CBS."
He said, "Hell no."
All right. In the second part, to talk about Mike Tomlin, I went to school in Youngstown. Anybody from Western Pennsylvania knows that area is just wroth with. It's a part of Ohio that's just wroth with Steelers fans. And every freaking year, since the Steelers were like good in 2013 to 2017, when I was in that area a lot, every freaking year, this might be the year where Tomlin gets fired. If the Steelers go 8-8 this year, I don't see how Tomlin survives it. No, Tomlin ain't going nowhere. Okay,
they won with Cowher's players.
Big Ben was not. It's all these. He can't beat the Patriots. Nobody can beat the Patriots. I mean, like that's the thing.
Yeah,
it's like Matt LeBron can't beat the Warriors. Nobody beat the Warriors. Okay, but it's just every year. People are talking about it was like last year when people were actually like entertaining the thought that the Ravens might get rid of
Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, that he might become available to coach the Browns. And I was just sitting there like, yeah, that's wishful thinking. That is wishful thinking. Like they're not about to get rid of that. Is a bad organization move that a team would do. Would be to fire your Super Bowl winning head coach that actually played a role in your Super Bowl. I know Mike McCarthy got fired last year, but like that fell apart from the top and down. Like John Harbaugh.
There were rumors that was going to happen mid-season too, right? Wasn't there rumors that like at the bye week or whatever he was about to be gone?
There were rumors that the Browns were about to trade for. Like it was just ridiculous. All right,
Ace, what is your take, Ace? Ace has been quiet there. What is your take? You think the Bengals are trading for Tomlin?
You're talking to a guy that put up with Marvin Lewis for 17 years. I literally was showing my wife because she's not super into sports, but I was telling her about like the Bengals history. This was a YouTube video from 10 years ago. and they were talking about firing Marvin Lewis. I think that Mike Tomlin, I mean, like Quincy has said, he's got credentials, man. He's not taking the Redskins job. The Redskins are basically run like the Bengals. They just spend more money and waste money on guys that they shouldn't. But that there would be a train wreck. I don't think that he leaves that job unless it's on his own terms. And if he is leaving it, it's definitely going to be for a top flight job. It's not just going to be for the Redskins.
Yeah,
Okay.
Look, Mike Tomlin would rather go back and be Antonio Brown's personal trainer before he would go to Washington. Okay, like let's just be real about this whole. There are a million things Mike Tomlin gonna do before he coached for Dan Snyder. Okay, and Dan Snyder called me like, "Hey,
the Redskins plane was at the airport."
Hey, he was getting told, "What are you doing here, bro? I didn't answer the phone for a reason. You stalking, you stalking, bro. I ghosted this for a reason." Look, and Dan Snyder called me and was like, "Quincy, love your videos. I think you should be the coach to watch the Redskins." I will be like, "Well, I have to see what my options are, Dan," and I will not call him back because who wants that job?
Okay, I got you. Now, last question with this, guys. We're gonna, wrap up the stream. Is predict the record for the end of the AFC North. We did this before the year started. We're gonna do it now. You have 8 games, right, or 7 games, depending. So what is the record? I'm gonna start with Tony because I know I can only expect Tony said that the Steelers are gonna make the playoff. But go ahead.
You want to be serious or tell jokes?
No,
All right.
I
think we'll start at the bottom. I think the Bengals go God. They're starting Ryan Finley now, right? I don't know, 1-15, 2-14. It doesn't feel like. I know people are saying this is not like a tank move on their part. I don't know that Andy Dalton really was the problem there this year, but I guess maybe they're certainly looking for a spark offensively. So maybe Ryan Finley can give them that, but I don't see them winning more than 2 games here. So I'm going to say 2-14 for the Bengals. For the Browns, boy, they're 2-5 already. They would have to go 4-5 from this point forward to finish 6-10. That sounds about right. I would say 4-5. They play almost 500 ball from this point forward. That's 6-10 for the Browns. Sorry.
Go ahead.
The Ravens. We'll skip the Steelers for a second. The Ravens. They're already 5-2. Their schedule, though, I mean, like we talked about, their schedule coming up, not easy. They've still got the Patriots. They've got the Texans. They've got the Rams. They've got the 49ers left. They go at the Bills. I know we're all believers that the Bills probably fall back down to earth, but that defense is legit. And as we've talked about, Lamar Jackson against the better defenses he's played already hasn't done spectacular. So I just can't figure out a way for the Ravens to go any less than 9-7, and probably 10-6 is more realistic. And boy, 10-6 from this point forward would be 5-4 football for the Ravens from here on out. So 11-5 is in play. I'll say 10-6 because I'm a Steeler fan and I don't want to see the Ravens do well. And then for the Steelers from here on out, I don't even know. I keep saying 7-9, and 7-9 sounds right to me because that's them playing 4-5 from here on out. But they've got some easy games left. I mean, they've got the Browns twice. Now, the one of those games is on Thursday night in Cleveland. It's going to be a primetime game. The Cleveland fans are going to be nuts. They could lose that game. At the Bengals, you kind of a trap game in between 2 Browns games. They've got at the Cardinals going on the West Coast. Look, 9-7 is in play if they win all their easy games and win split with the Colts and Rams coming up. Those are 2 home games. 9-7 is in play, but probably something like 8-8 and 7-9 is more realistic. This is a team playing for 2020. And like I said, anything that happens in 2019 for the Steelers that's better than 8-8 or 7-9 is a complete win.
So recapping, Tony, is 10-6 Ravens. Then you had the Steelers second, 7-9, Browns 6-10, and 2-14. So I was gonna go to Ace, but I think Quincy, after hearing that, wants to go. So I'm gonna let Quincy go. Tell me your records for the division.
We'll start from the bottom up.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna go 2-14 with the Bengals. I think they're gonna get 1 win over the Ravens. I think they're probably gonna beat the Dolphins. They should. The Dolphins don't want to win. Then we're gonna go 3rd place. In 3rd place, you're gonna have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gonna finish about 6-10. Maybe a generous 7-9. That sounds about right there. Quarterback problems still. James Conner, not who we thought he was. Juju's been good. Just honestly, I think that might be helpful. I like Snell better than I like Conner.
No, Snell's hurt too. He's got a knee. They got no running back. They need to trade for Le'Veon today.
True. 5-11 for the Steelers. I'm gonna go 5-11 now. 5-11. They're gonna taste mediocrity, and they're not even gonna have to pick the warm souls. And now we're gonna talk about the top of the AFC North. Now, look, this isn't something that is, a lot of people are going to foresee. This is something people are going to be like, hey, Quincy, this is a smart take by you. Quincy, this is going to be a take where people will be like, oh, Quincy, you're just a fan. But I'm not using my fan bone here. I'm using my football brain here. Browns play the second worst schedule in the NFL. They just got done playing the second hardest schedule in the NFL. It's like, here's what this is like. If you have played the best teams in the NFL, playing against the worst teams, it's going to feel a lot slower. It's going to go a lot easier. Things are going to work a lot better. You're going to be able to execute. And for what it's worth, the Browns have been able to execute. They've just been playing teams so good that they didn't have the margin of error to get away with it. So I think the Browns are going to have a healthy stretch of wins here. I think they're going to go undefeated in the month of November. They got to if they want to contend. They're going to get the 500 by December. And I think by the time they play the Baltimore Ravens, the Browns will be 9-5? No. They would have to be 9-5. Okay. 9-5. And the Ravens.
They win 5 straight.
Oh yeah, they're winning 5 straight. You want to look on? Hold on, Tony, baby. We're gonna look at the schedule now.
Are we sure they beat the Broncos this week? I mean, I'm not even sure they beat the Broncos this week.
No, they're beating the Broncos.
I've been watching tape on Brandon Allen during this stream. He might get you guys.
Yeah, that tape people watching the Brandon Allen was at Arkansas. He ain't even playing the NFL. Don't even give me that. All right. And I had never heard of Brandon Allen at Arkansas. And Arkansas is terrible. Don't even play me like that. All right. First of all, don't even do me like that, Brandon Allen. You watch tape of Brandon Allen. Ain't even no tape of Brandon Allen that exists. All right. So we got the Broncos. We got the Bills at home. That's a dub.
That's a loss. That's an L.
All right. Whatever. Thursday night. Pittsburgh in Cleveland. Oh, yes. That's a dub, baby.
That's a 50-50 game. I'll give you a W on that one.
No 50-50 game, baby. That's a dub. That's an 80% dub right there. I ain't even celebrating after that win. I'm just be like, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure. I'll watch your video after.
Then after that, Dolphins, Browns, at home, Cleveland.
That's your only win so far.
Baker about to put up 500 against
interceptions in one game?
500 yards, 6 touchdowns. No, it's going to be like Madden. People will be like, well, I was against the Dolphins. I'll be like, that was fair. We did that to Lamar. All right. And then they play the sorry Steelers December 1st in Pittsburgh a week after they already tapped that booty. And you know what's going to happen again? Baker going to tap that booty. He's going to have 5 wins in a row.
Imagine a 2-5 Browns team that thinks you're going to sweep the Steelers. Are we sure? Listen, I know your chat is very obsessed with drugs and meth and whatnot. We may have to check Quincy.
Hey, baby. We still undefeated in the North, baby. Don't even play us like that. All right. Let's talk about that.
1-0. Congratulations.
Wait. You're undefeated in what?
That's the best team in the AFC North. We are undefeated, baby. All right. So, look, we played them little Steelers. We're going to have 5 games in a row. It's 5 + 2, everybody. That's 7. Brown's about to be 7-5. Baker gonna be feeling himself. He's gonna be putting a little Vaseline on his chest. He's gonna plant that flag in Heinz Field.
I was told this was supposed to be serious. I was told that our prediction was supposed to be serious.
Baby, I'm dead serious. I mean every bit of this with every part of my brain. Then they play the Bengals at home. Hey, Boogie, got love for you. Dub. Easy dub. Easy dub. All right. Browns versus the Cardinals. That's going to be on the road. Going to be a closer game than we expect. Browns don't really play that
game. Oh, yeah, this is the tough one. Oh, yeah, this is the real tough one you got.
I mean,
not the Bills.
Not
the Steelers.
Real talk. Kyler Murray, the best quarterback we're going to play in that stretch before the Ravens. Like, that's the best quarter. Josh Allen, whoever started for the Steelers, whoever started for the Bengals, Josh Rosen, yes. Kyler Murray going to throw the Browns off a little bit. They're going to get that game to overtime, but you know what? Baker going to run the ball to the 6-yard line. They're going to kick a field goal, win that bad boy in overtime with like 5 minutes left. That's what the Browns do. We win games hard. Then we're going to go into Baltimore. Baltimore going to be talking all that mess like they did the week before when they lost that game in M&T Bank Stadium. Sonny was a witness to that. Shout out to Sonny. All right. And on December 22nd, right before Christmas, everybody's going to be talking the mess. The Ravens are going to be going, and they're not feeling great, but they're going to be like, we're going to get our stride back against the Browns. They're going to talk all that mess against the Browns that the Browns talked about now. Oh, the Browns been eating easy teams. This is the first test they're going to have. They ain't going to beat us. You know what I mean? We got a real team. They ain't playing no real. They just beat the Cardinals. They went overtime with the Cardinals. They ain't about to do it. Baker's still a bust. And guess what? Nick Chubb about to go off for 300. Nick Chubb about to go off.
Oh, my God.
Nick Chubb up and down the damn field. Brandon Williams going to be like, see, Earl, it didn't matter that I didn't play. Nick Chubb still eating us. Nick Chubb still eating us. Baker about to have a little, 150 odd game. People gonna be like, well, Baker didn't play well. That's how y'all gonna still hate in the comment section. They're like, well, Baker didn't play well. He had Nick Chubb, too much talent. Quincy. And then
oh my God.
Then it's gonna be Browns. Then it's gonna be Browns at Bengals, last game of the year, and Baker gonna make up for that 150-yard game that he had against the Ravens, against the Bengals. He about to throw this ball up and down the field. Drake Kirkpatrick gonna try to swing on him because Baker about to be doing the big balls dance down the field. We about to be doing that thing. Nick Chubb about to be running that thing all up and down Geno Atkins' throat, baby. Yes. Carlos Dunlap is gonna be Dunlapping around the field because Nick Chubb about to be all up and down. Oh, and don't forget, Kareem Hunt too. Kareem Hunt on the team. Kareem Hunt about to be like, oh, y'all forgot about me. Yagging these yards. Catch it. He about to be catching this ball out the backfield, eating this up. And the Browns are going to end the season. God. But did I just go undefeated for the rest of the season?
Yeah. We're currently 11-5 at this point.
I'm about to throw it. I got a little carried away. I meant to throw a loss in there.
I forgot to sprinkle.
You know what? Now that I look at it, undefeated, rest of the season, 11-5. We ain't playing nobody worthwhile. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my God, Freddie Kitchens did an amazing job." The Browns almost got a bye week in the playoffs, and then they're gonna get to the playoffs and they're gonna play the Houston Texans. And they're gonna lose by 30, and we're gonna be like, all right, hold on, maybe this wasn't legit.
I love this comment. Look for you, Quincy.
Okay. Baby, I believe in my team.
You might be the last one left.
No, it's a bunch of us.
So
there are dozens of us.
Wait, because he hasn't predicted the Ravens, so we can finish this.
Oh, and the Ravens, it's Sonny. I'm about to do you a solid right here, bro. I'm about to do you a solid.
I might have to move to Ace because you're taking too much time. Tony needs to go.
All right, hold on. I'll make this quick and easy for you, baby. I'll make this quick and easy. Patriots, Ravens. Oh, y'all about to beat them 6-3, right? 6-3. Y'all about to be hot on these Twitter streets. Y'all about to be hot. Then the Bengals about to beat y'all. Y'all be like, what happened? And Graver gonna do another. What's wrong with the Ravens stream? And then the Texans about to beat that booty 6-4. All right. Then the Rams, they ain't gonna beat that booty. Y'all gonna go 7-4. Y'all gonna beat the Rams. All right. But then the 49ers about to come in. Oh, they about to beat that booty. What's that? 7-6?
7-5.
7-5. Bills about to come in. Y'all gonna beat the Bills. It's 8-5. Jets come in. Y'all gonna beat the Jets. That's 9-5. So y'all coming into the Browns 9-5. Browns about to beat that booty 9-6. Y'all gonna beat the Steelers because the Steelers are trash. They're going 5-11, 10-6. Y'all might get a wild card spot. Y'all might be one game short. Y'all gonna be wondering how the hell did this happen? We got swept by the Browns and they look terrible this year. Yeah, get ready for it. Team beat them down. # beat that booty. It's gonna trend when the Browns start beating that booty all up and down this season. Ace, Sean was good.
Okay, Ace go.
The one realistic take. Here we go.
Everybody's asking. They're saying, Ace, are you sad? Are you upset with the Bengals? Honestly, by the time that we were mathematically eliminated, the tank was activated. I'm tanking for Tua. I don't want us to win more than maybe one game. Like if we have to win the one game against Miami, there so be it. So I think we're gonna definitely take last place. Now the bad thing is that we benched Andy Dalton, who was like a turnover machine for us and was helping us complete the mission to try to obtain Tua. That's probably not gonna happen. So I see us probably winning about 2 games. So I'm gonna say 2-14 for my Cincinnati Bengals. Hopefully we'll be the number 1 or number 2 pick, either one. I'm good with that. I can take the Chase Young consolation prize. Third, Tony, I had you on my podcast, and I think we're going to be in the basement together, my friend. I think we might want to move in.
It's temporary. It's temporary.
We
need a couch to sleep on, Ace. That's it. We're gonna be good. We're good for it, baby. We get in the house back next year.
Right.
Everybody who has had to stay in their mom's basement has also. It's temporary, bro. It's only a couple years. I'm gonna save us some money.
Listen, the check's coming in. I'm moving out in like a week.
Right. So I got the Steelers at 6-10. I think that's where they're in. Mainly because of Mason Rudolph. I really like the defense. I think we talked about that a few weeks ago. I like where the defense is heading. Mason Rudolph against the Dolphins showed me all I needed to know. After that, then we go to the Browns. And I think Quincy makes a good point that they have a lot of easier teams to play right now. But I feel like something is going to happen and they're going to lose a game that they shouldn't, and the Browns are going to end up being 8-8. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to make the playoffs or not, but I think that they stop at 8-8. The Ravens, I think, take the division at 10-6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So let me spill some senses here.
Sonny, where are you at with this?
I think Bengals, obviously. I think 2. I think they could get to 2, but at worst 1. Although, again, I told this to Ace, I'm rooting for a tie between the Bengals and Miami, 0-15-1. 2 teams going 0-15-1. Flip that coin for who takes the top pick. I'm good with that. Okay. So for me, they're the bottom. I think the Steelers are gonna be 3rd. I think the Steelers probably finished the year 6th.
We're 2nd right now. Does everyone realize we're actually 2nd right now?
You beat the Dolphins barely. All right, baby. Come on now. Come on.
I think it's gonna be 6-10 for the Steelers.
6-10.
Yeah, I think 6-10 is where you're gonna live. Hey,
the Ravens beat us in overtime. Remember that, right? It was overtime. You barely won, snuck by Lamar.
And after that, you bench your best shot of being 7-9.
Well, don't get me started again. Like I said, I love the StreamYard logo.
And then let's go to the Browns and Ravens. I actually think the Browns can sneak to the playoffs. I mean, I said it early in the stream. I think the Browns finish 9-7. I think they're gonna get. They go and have 2 losses in the next 8 weeks left for you guys, or 9 weeks, whatever. You got 2 losses in the rest of the schedule. I think it's very hard to go undefeated. So 2 L's, and I think the Ravens are probably. I picked them 11-5. That was my pick early in the year. But if I'm gonna be, I think 10-6 is really. I mean, that means for us going 5-4, right? I think we can be 11-5, but if I'm gonna be even giving you more benefit of the doubt, 10-6.
You're predicting 10-6?
I mean, that's your prediction for the Ravens.
Yeah, that's my prediction. But I thought you'd be higher. I mean, you guys are 5-2 right now.
I know, but again, I think we can go 11-5. But I'm saying at worst, if we go 5-4 for the rest of the schedule, that puts us on 10-6. That's basically just about 500.
Do you think they're going to beat the Patriots?
I think we're going to beat the Patriots, yeah.
Where are the other losses coming from?
I
49ers.
think
49ers, okay. It's at San Fran too, right? So it's.
I think the Niners potentially. The other one that I don't like, to be honest, is going to the Rams because cross country,
West Coast,
yeah. And again, and then sprinkle 2 more losses somewhere wherever you want, right?
Steelers, I agree.
Not the Steelers, but 5-4 gets us 10-6. And that wins the division. Again, I think we could potentially be 11-5. That's giving us 3 more losses. And I think that's still realistic.
Do you think a bye week is realistic with where the Chiefs are right now?
Yeah. For the Ravens, yes.
Because it would mean like 12-4 or 11-5, right? I mean, 10-6.
11-5. Yeah, 11-5 I think gets you the bye week.
Because you lost the tiebreaker, so you have to finish a game above them.
Yeah, but I think the KC is gonna go down a little bit more, right? Because I think if they're smart, they're winning that division. So the best scenario for them is get Patty Mahomes healthy, even if that means finishing 10-6, 9-7.
Yeah,
I think that's their best.
He was practicing last week. I mean,
but still he's hurt. He had a bad ankle and a bad knee going to that game, right?
Yeah.
So the big thing is, where's the Texans going to be next year?
I didn't know we had props. I didn't get this memo.
I think the Bengals, not the Bengals. I think the Texans will see where they are, but I think the Ravens legitimately can finish second. Second, with Patriots and Ravens and a bye week. They ain't gonna be sweet, Quincy. I can tell you that right now. They ain't gonna be sweet.
Hey, baby, the whole North getting swept.
Oh,
the whole North getting swept. This for everybody. This ain't just for you, Sonny. This for Tony. This for Ace. This for Sonny. Everybody in the chat.
Okay. There's a lot of crack comments.
Still gonna be hating on Baker.
The 2-5 Browns guy is the most. He's the most optimistic of all of us. Honestly, Sonny, I was ready for you to come on here and say 14-2. And
I'm trying to be here taking this for serious, not like Quincy here.
I'm taking it serious, and don't say, oh.
That last segment I did is the last segment I do on this thing serious.
And when the Browns do this. Yeah. When the Browns do
we're in fantasy land. Yep.
Oh, Quincy, you was just kidding when you said that. You wasn't for real. I said this at the beginning of the season, and we about to sweep the North. So we sweeping the North. All right.
Yeah,
but we don't change how your mind work, baby. Don't flash that off.
We gotta do this like every 3 weeks now.
I have a couple of people here asking me where's this dealer because he's selling the good stuff. So I'm gonna give you your offline thing, so you can give him where they can get the good stuff. Anyway, Ace wanted to talk. Ace, what up, man?
Oh, I was gonna say I will give Quincy credit because I do recall on our first call he said that the Browns were gonna get off to a rough start and everybody was gonna be kind of hurling at them and stuff like that, and then they were gonna have this run at the end of the season, like he's saying now. So I will give him that credit.
Yeah,
he's wrong about it, right? They're gonna get off to a slow start and stay on a slow.
No, I do think the Browns. No,
right for that part.
If I'm completely honest, I do think the Browns have the chance to make the playoffs.
They're 2-5.
I know,
they're one of the most undisciplined teams in the league. What are we talking about?
I understand, but the schedule looks for them to turn it around. Like
Browns,
I'm gonna keep it here 100. I'm not. Like if I keep it 100, I think the Browns sneak in and that's 6 seed. That's my prediction. Anyway, guys, we went beyond the time that I promised you guys that I was gonna keep you here. Pepperoni. So before we leave, Tony, where they can find you at?
Yeah, Locked On Steelers podcast. Go on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts. Search Locked On Steelers. My co-host Christopher Carter and I do that podcast on a daily basis.
Okay, Ace, where they can find you, man?
You can find me on YouTube at New Stripe City. You can also find me on the Homes the New Black podcast with my co-host Jim Hude.
Okay, Quincy, which by the way, before Quincy talks, his channel is Worst Take. So what he said, take it with whatever that means. Go ahead, man.
Accurate.
Ooh, Sonny. Sonny. Y'all can find me on youtube.com/Quincy Carey. You can also find me on Twitter at Quincy, and you can also find me in the mentions of all three. Now, Ace Boogie actually been cool this whole time, so it's just you, Sonny, and Tony. You can find me in their mentions when the Browns make this run. I've been predicting since the schedule came out in August. Go on my channel and check it out, baby. I've been saying the same thing since August. It's gonna happen. The Browns about to do this. They about to win this division in spectacular fashion, and we can have this chat again at the end of the season when the Browns will be
3 weeks from now. We got 3 weeks, like a month from now.
For a playoff game, and I'll have my AFC champion shirt on.
Okay. Again, I go back that I think you guys are gonna have a run and you're gonna make the playoff.
Baby,
no way in hell you guys are winning.
I'm gonna get all of y'all shirt. What's y'all sizes? Send me your sizes in the chat. I'm gonna get all y'all shirt. I'm gonna get all of y'all shirt and hat, baby.
The division stays with the AFC champions of AFC North champions of last year. The North stays with the Ravens. Anyway, guys, if to make it simple, the chats for the YouTube channel and Tony's webpage is in the description below. Like I said, I like to listen to perspective. I like to laugh at just crazy ideas when Quincy and Tony bring that up. You know, you can find that entertaining out there in that podcast and YouTube. But anyway, has been a great stream. I think we should do this again at the end of the year, regardless where everybody is. No,
4 weeks from now.
4 weeks.
Right after the Steelers play the Browns.
Hit a like at this channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and check out my boys' channel. Guys, thank you for joining the live stream, and we're gonna be out. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.